All right, people, it's that time. Regionals are here. Everyone's getting excited, and there are 6 events, and they're pretty crazy. But number 1 event is Diane 21:15.9 deadlift handstand push-up. Deadlift, that's your business. You've already trained that, but I think we can give you a little bit of insight on what to think about during the handstand push-ups. I think there's this big discussion going around where we're talking about strict versus kipping. And a lot of people that I talk to, especially top athletes, always say, oh yeah, I'll go strict because I'm faster with strict. But the truth is that, what is faster? Kipping pull-ups or dead hang pull-ups? So that's something to think about. If you are proficient at kipping handstand push-ups, guaranteed you're gonna be able to carry that strength longer and not have any breaks and be able to save yourself for the rest of the weekend because you have 5 events coming after that. So here's the deal. We've done a million videos now on handstand push-ups. Everyone knows the progression for the handstand push-up, how I do it, but I think we can touch on a couple things. Number 1 that I want to touch on is, what should we do with the kip? How do we keep it going? The first thing I want you guys to think about is the kip. If we come over to this wall, the shorter it is, the better. The problem sometimes with the short kip is that we get people in this position where their back is slightly broken and they don't have access to the hip, so when they kick out of it, they don't really get that kip effect. So what we want to look at, if you can see me from a little bit lower, is can we get the knees low enough that the hip gets engaged? And what we're looking at here is the back. Look at my knee in relationship to my hip. Look what happens. When my knee passes the hip, now my hip is loaded and I can explode out of that hole and I'll be golden. So are you capable of cycling through these short kip handstand push-ups where the hip always preloads before the explosion, right? If you don't have that, you are gonna be destroyed and you are gonna be using too much arms, and I promise that down the line, there are some events that you're gonna need those little suckers. So that's something to think about. Another thing you wanna think about is, according to the box that you get to put your hands in, everyone likes to have different positions. I call this freestyle. You can go wherever you want, whatever works best for you, but there is some limitations to it. No matter what you do, you always want the base to match the ceiling or the top. This is what I'm talking about. If your hands are this wide, we're gonna have the legs equal width. If our hands are closer together, more gymnastic style, the knees are a little bit closer together. The reason we mention this is because if your base and your top are different, sometimes we have some stumbles and then it goes downhill, and sometimes our feet don't meet the top and we have a no rep, and that's not fun. Last thing you want to do is, there's no need to move the head. The head just stays still the whole time. One of the things that I coach my athletes on, or cue my athletes to do, is if they're standing against the wall with their back against the wall, they should be looking at the top corner of the opposite side of the room. You're not gonna be in a room, most likely you're gonna be outside somewhere, so just look up into the sky fairly high and just keep your eyes on that. If you can carry that short kip going with you, you're gonna be golden. Last thing, if you're that person that can't do 21 in a row, 15 in a row, 9 in a row, sometimes going from that short kip to a longer kip where the knee actually comes almost all the way down to your elbow, doesn't necessarily have to rest, but it can come down to your elbow. This resets you and now allows you to preload, flatten out your back, and explode out of there, rather than having a broken back position where now I have no knee involved. I'm trying to rest here, which is not comfortable in the hip because I have nothing to explode out of, and it's not very comfortable in the neck. So here, I feel way more comfortable. I close the circuit up, and now I can preload nice and tight and maybe explode out of it and get some more volume. So it would go like this: short kip, long kip, and then maybe you pick it up again and then the short kip kicks back into play. So that would be your handstand push-up stuff. It's very small details, but this is the stuff that differentiates first place, second place, and third place.